You're so stupid for keeping it in the family bank. Amanda's mocking voice crackled through my phone speaker. Did you really think nobody would find out about your secret savings? Consider this karma for always acting better than everyone else. I gripped my phone tighter, trying to steady my breathing as I stood in the makeshift medical tent where I'd been volunteering for the past 3 months. The African heat was suffocating, but it wasn't the temperature making me sweat. How much did you take, Amanda? I asked, keeping my voice level despite the rage building inside me. She laughed, the sound dripping with satisfaction. All of it, every last penny of your precious $847,000. Can you believe you had that much hidden away while the rest of the family struggled? Mom always said you were selfish, but this proves it. My name is Catherine Mitchell, and at 32, I was listening to my sister-in-law confess to stealing my life savings. Money I carefully invested from my years as a trauma surgeon. Money that was meant to build a medical clinic in this struggling village. You had no right, I said quietly. That money wasn't just savings. It was. Oh, spare me your noble doctor speech, Amanda cut in. James agrees with me. That money should go to families who need it, not some random village in Africa. James, my own brother. Of course he was involved. He'd always resented my success, always felt entitled to what I'd earned. Working at the family bank had given them the access they needed, but they'd forgotten one crucial detail. I hope you enjoy it while it lasts, I replied, surprising myself with how calm I sounded. Goodbye, Amanda. I ended the call and immediately dialed another number, one I'd memorized years ago when I first suspected my family might try something like this. Mr. Patterson, it's Catherine Mitchell. I need you to initiate Protocol 17. Are you sure, Dr. Mitchell? My investment manager asked, though I could hear him already typing. Once we start, there's no going back. I'm sure. They took the bait. All of it. You see, the account Amanda had found, the one she'd so proudly emptied, was exactly what I'd wanted her to find. A decoy carefully crafted over years of dealing with my family's endless attempts to access my money. The real funds, the actual profits from my surgical career and investments, were safely diversified across multiple international accounts. The money Amanda stole, that was the trap I'd set after discovering James had been searching through my records at the family bank. I sat down on my cot, pulling out my laptop to check my email. Within minutes, Mr. Patterson's confirmation arrived, along with copies of all the transfer records showing exactly how Amanda and James had stolen the money. Every keystroke, every authorization, every forged signature, all documented and time-stamped. My phone buzzed again. This time it was my mother. Catherine, how dare you have set your brother's wife like this? That money should be shared with family. We raised you better than to be so greedy. I almost laughed. My mother, who'd spent years criticizing my choice to become a surgeon instead of marrying rich like Amanda had, who'd dismissed my volunteer work as running away from real responsibilities, who'd never once visited me during my residency, but attended every single one of Amanda's spa opening ceremonies. Mom, I'm a little busy right now. There are patients waiting. I could hear her building up to one of her famous guilt trips. Patients? What about family? Amanda told me how much money you've been hiding. Nearly $1 million, while your brother can barely afford his mortgage. Maybe because he spent every penny on Amanda's designer shopping sprees and luxury cars, I thought but didn't say. I have to go, Mom, but you might want to warn James and Amanda. Investment fraud leaves quite a paper trail. I hung up before she could respond, turning back to my laptop where emails from Mr. Patterson continued to arrive. Everything was documented, every transaction tracked. The money they'd stolen wasn't just marked, it was evidence. My phone kept buzzing with texts from Amanda. You think you're so smart. James says you're bluffing. Nobody will believe you anyway. I forwarded each message to Mr. Patterson, adding to the growing file of evidence. Let them think they'd won. Let them celebrate their clever theft. They had no idea what was coming. A knock at the tent flap interrupted my thoughts. Dr. Mitchell, the supplies you ordered just arrived. I smiled, closing my laptop. The real medical supplies, purchased with my actual funds, had arrived right on schedule. While Amanda and James were probably already spending their stolen money, I was building something that would last. Perfect timing, I said, standing up. Let's get these unpacked. As I helped unload boxes of medical equipment, I thought about the letter that would arrive at the family bank tomorrow morning. The one detailing exactly how a senior bank employee and his wife had defrauded a client. Let them enjoy their victory for one more night. Sometimes the best revenge isn't immediate. Sometimes it's watching people celebrate their own downfall, too blinded by greed to see the trap they've walked into. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from James. Amanda told you about the money. Don't bother trying to fight this. Family takes care of family. I smiled, thinking of the security footage Mr. Patterson had requested from the bank. Yes, I typed back. Family certainly does. The next morning broke with a series of increasingly frantic phone calls. I ignored them all, focusing instead on setting up the new ultrasound machine that would help save countless lives in this remote village. Each buzz of my phone was accompanied by another email notification from Mr. Patterson, updating me on the unfolding chaos back home. Your brother just received the official notice, he wrote. The bank's fraud department has already frozen all associated accounts. Shall I proceed with phase 2? I waited until I finished calibrating the equipment before responding with a simple yes. What James and Amanda didn't know was that the money they'd stolen wasn't just marked. It was part of a carefully orchestrated sting operation. Years of watching James abuse his position at the family bank, of seeing Amanda flaunt her wealth while belittling my career choices, had taught me to be prepared. The bank's fraud department had been monitoring that account for months, ever since I'd reported suspicious access attempts. Every transaction, every attempt to view the account details had been logged and documented. The money they'd stolen wasn't just mine. It was bait in a federal investigation into banking fraud. My phone rang again, this time from a number I actually wanted to answer. Dr. Mitchell, Agent Sarah Wilson's voice was crisp and professional. Your brother and sister-in-law just arrived at the bank. Would you like me to proceed with the interviews? Has the evidence been secured? Every document, security recording, and transaction record. They're not getting out of this one. I thought about all the times James had belittled my career choices, how Amanda had mocked my decision to work in underserved communities. Proceed, I said, and make sure my mother isn't allowed to interfere. As if on cue, my mother's number flashed across my screen again. This time I answered. How could you? She screamed before I could speak. James just called me from the bank. There are federal agents everywhere. Your own brother, Catherine. My own brother who stole nearly $1 million from me. I replied calmly, watching as my team unloaded more medical supplies. Or did that part slip your mind? He needed the money. Amanda's boutique is struggling, and they have appearances to maintain. You're just being selfish with your success. I laughed, the sound echoing through the medical tent. Selfish. I'm building a medical clinic in a village that's never had one. What's Amanda doing with my money? Buying another designer handbag. That's different. She has a position to maintain in society. What would people think if she couldn't keep up appearances? What would people think when they learned she and James committed federal banking fraud? The silence on the other end was deafening. Finally, my mother spoke, her voice quieter but no less venomous. You've always been jealous of Amanda. Ever since James married her, you've resented how well she fits into our social circle. This is just spite. I thought about the children I treated yesterday, about the lives that would be saved with the clinic I was building. No, Mom, this is justice. And if you try to interfere, you'll be implicated too. The investigation shows James has been moving money from other accounts as well. Would you like Agent Wilson to look into where your recent donations to Amanda really came from? Another long pause. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have actual lives to save. I hung up and turned to my laptop, where Mr. Patterson had sent another update. James and Amanda were being questioned separately. The initial audit showed they'd been skimming from other accounts too, using James' position to cover their tracks. The evidence was overwhelming. A text from Amanda popped up. You think you're so clever with your little trap, but you've just destroyed your brother's career. Hope you're happy with yourself. I forwarded the message to Agent Wilson, adding it to the growing pile of evidence. Another text followed quickly. James says you're bluffing about the other accounts. You can't prove anything. Oh, but I could. Every transaction, every transfer, every forged signature, all meticulously documented. While they've been living their lavish lifestyle, I've been building an ironclad case. Mr. Patterson's next email contained security footage from the bank. There was Amanda, dressed in her usual designer outfit, practically skipping as she helped James transfer my money. The timestamp matched perfectly with her gloating phone call. The district attorney has everything they need. Agent Wilson message. Your brother is already trying to cut a deal. Claims Amanda pressured him into it. She's not taking that well. I could imagine. Amanda had always viewed herself as the family princess, above consequences or accountability. The thought of her facing actual repercussions probably never crossed her mind. My phone buzzed again, James this time. Katie, please, his message read, using my childhood nickname for the first time in years. You have to stop this. I'll pay you back. Amanda didn't mean any harm. We can work something out. Too late, little brother. The time for working things out was before you decided to steal from me. Dr. Mitchell, one of my nurses called out. The first prenatal clinic patients are here. Should we start with the new ultrasound? I smiled, tucking my phone away. This was real work, real purpose, not the shallow materialism Amanda and James had chosen. Yes, I replied. Let's show them their babies. As I helped a young mother-to-be onto the examination table, my phone lit up with a final message from Mr. Patterson. Phase 2 complete. Your brother has been suspended pending investigation. His assets are frozen. Amanda's boutique accounts have been seized as potential proceeds of fraud. Would you like me to proceed with Phase 3? I looked at the woman's face, lighting up with joy as she saw her baby on the ultrasound screen for the first time. This was what my money was meant for, bringing hope and healing, not funding Amanda's shopping addiction. Proceed. I typed back one-handed, my other hand pointing out the baby's heartbeat to the amazed mother. Send everything to the DA. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about justice. It's about showing people the difference between real value and artificial worth. Let Amanda and James face the consequences of their actions. I had more important things to focus on. The ultrasound machine beeped softly, recording another strong heartbeat. Another life that would have a better chance because I'd chosen to invest in something meaningful instead of status symbols. My phone buzzed one last time, a message from Agent Wilson. They're being processed now. Your mother's trying to post bail. Should we look into those accounts too? I smiled, turning back to my patient. Yes, I replied. Let's clean up the whole family bank. 3 months later, I stood in the doorway of my newly completed medical clinic, watching as mothers with children filled the waiting room. The equipment purchased with my real funds had already helped diagnose countless conditions, saved multiple lives, and brought hope to a community that had gone without proper medical care for generations. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Local bank executive and wife plead guilty in major fraud case. I opened the article to find James and Amanda's mugshots staring back at me. They looked nothing like the smug, entitled people who'd called to gloat about stealing my money. Amanda's designer clothes had been replaced by a plain blouse, her carefully styled hair now limp and unstyled. James' confident smirk was gone, replaced by a look of defeated resignation. Dr. Mitchell, Mr. Patterson's voice came through my earpiece. The sentencing hearing just ended. Would you like the details? I nodded, though he couldn't see me. Go ahead. Your brother received 5 years, reduced from 10 for cooperation. Amanda got 3 years, plus restitution. They're required to repay everything they stole, plus penalties. Your mother's accounts are still under investigation. And the family bank, under new management. The audit revealed decades of mismanagement and preferential treatment. Your father's old board of directors has been completely replaced. I thought about my father, who built that bank from nothing, who'd always taught me about integrity and hard work before he passed away. He would have been heartbroken to see what James had done with his legacy. The new board wants to make things right, Mr. Patterson continued. They're offering to fund your clinic's operations for the next 5 years. Clean money, properly documented. Would you like me to send over the proposal? I watched as one of my nurses showed a young mother how to properly give her baby medication. Yes, I replied. Let's give them a chance to restore my father's reputation. My phone buzzed again. A message from my mother. Are you happy now? You've destroyed this family. Your brother is in jail. Amanda's reputation is ruined, and I'm under investigation. I hope your precious clinic was worth it. I thought about responding, about pointing out that they destroyed themselves through their own greed and entitlement. Instead, I simply forwarded the message to Agent Wilson and turned back to my patients. Later that evening, as I was finishing up paperwork, my secretary brought in a letter. The return address was from the federal prison where Amanda was being held. Dear Catherine, it began, the handwriting shaky and unfamiliar. I don't expect forgiveness, but you should know that you won. You were always smarter than us, always playing the long game while we chased quick rewards. I understand now why your father left you in charge of his medical trust instead of James. You saw the bigger picture. I set the letter aside, remembering the day my father had called me into his study just months before his death. He'd shown me the truth about the family finances, about James's early attempts to misuse his position at the bank. Watch out for your brother, he'd warned, and especially watch out for the woman he's planning to marry. They'll try to take everything if you let them. He'd helped me set up my separate accounts that day, taught me about creating paper trails and protecting assets. The decoy account that had trapped James and Amanda had been his idea. A lesson in patience and preparation. A knock at my office door interrupted my thoughts. One of my patients, an elderly woman who'd walked 3 miles to reach the clinic, stood there with tears in her eyes. "Doctor," she said, holding out a small, hand-woven bracelet. "My granddaughter made this for you. Because of your medicine, she can see now. She made it herself, with her own eyes that can finally see." I accepted the bracelet, thinking about Amanda's closet full of designer accessories, none of which had brought this kind of joy. My phone lit up with a final email from Mr. Patterson. The Family Bank's new board has approved full funding for 3 more clinics in neighboring villages. They want to make this part of your father's lasting legacy. Should I proceed with the paperwork? I looked at the handmade bracelet, then at the waiting room still full of patients seeking help. This was what real wealth looked like, not designer handbags or social status, but the ability to make a genuine difference. "Yes," I replied, sliding the bracelet onto my wrist. "Let's build something that matters." Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about winning. It's about proving that your path was right all along. While James and Amanda faced the consequences of their greed, I was building my father's true legacy, one patient at a time. The clinic's lights shone brightly in the gathering dusk, a beacon of hope in a place that had known too much darkness. This was my real inheritance, not money or status, but the ability to create positive change. And that was worth more than anything James and Amanda had ever stolen.